Welcome to this Wisdom Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about life balance. A lot of times we talk about getting the different areas of our life balanced. We think about, balancing our work and our family life and money and these types of things. But what I want to suggest to you is there is a much higher level of life balance that most people don't think about. And when we get this higher level of life balance, in order or in place, then all the other areas of life balance start to, fill in and become a little bit easier once we get this first priority in line first. So we got to take care of this one first, and then all those other areas become a little bit easier. Now, just the idea of balance. Balance is crucial for health and for all kinds of areas of your life. Balance is crucial for success in anything that you want to do. For example, in your health, if you're not balanced, it leads to pain typically in your body. It leads to issues in your body if you are not balanced. So balance is a very key aspect of life. But let's talk about what I think are the three areas that you have to get balanced first, which is number one, your spiritual life. Number two is your mind and emotions. And then number three is the practical skills of life. So the spiritual life is getting connected with God. We'll talk more about that here in a second. Getting connected with God and growing spiritually. We have mindset and emotions, renewing the way that you think and understanding true principles and these types of things, and changing the way we think about situations, these types of things. And finally, we need practical skills in life, whether it's, what to eat and how to exercise, or managing money, or parenting, or marriage. We need practical skills. And we have to have those three areas of life in balance first. If I don't have those three areas doing well and balanced out together, then it's hard to create balance in work and family and all these other areas of life if I don't have those three areas in line first. Now, the one I want to focus on mainly today is the spiritual aspect of life, because a lot of times we get caught up into the mindset and the practical areas of life, and we tend to neglect the spiritual. Now, I know for me, this was the case for a long time. I had zero spiritual life whatsoever. And here's what I found. When you begin to develop your spiritual life, here's what you get. You get three things. Number one, you're going to get connected with God. As you begin to grow and develop spiritually as a person, you get connected with God, which always leads to a greater sense of peace and joy. So think about having a much greater sense of peace and joy in your life. That's going to lead to much different mindset and emotions. It's going to change the way that you do things in your life. So when you're, interacting with people in your life, and you're managing your money, and you're eating, and you're doing your workouts, if you're doing it with a much greater sense of peace and joy in everything that you do, the results that you get are going to be much different. So we kind of work from the inside out. The first thing you get when you grow spiritually is you get connected with God, you find peace, and you find joy. Which, number two, is we get connected with God. The next thing that we typically find is we begin to find a much greater level of purpose and meaning for our life. We begin to figure out, what was I put on this earth to do? What am I here for? What is the plans and purposes that I was created to, walk out in my life? And so as I get connected with God, I grow spiritually, next thing I find is a much greater level of purpose and meaning. Again, when I have purpose and meaning for my life, it increases my energy. It may wake up with a sense of purpose and something to do for the day. It changes the way I interact with people. It changes all these other areas of life when I have a much greater sense of purpose and meaning for my life. And then number three, so we're going to get connected with God. You find peace and you find joy. And then number two, we find much greater level of purpose and meaning for your life, which leads to number three, as we begin to walk out that purpose, we need to have true principles. As we grow spiritually, you begin to find universal, true principles. You begin to find the truth, the way that the world really works, because you need to know the truth to make that purpose happen in your life. So you get connected with God, you get greater peace and joy, you find purpose and meaning, and then finally, number three, you begin to find the truth. You find true, universal principles that apply into every area of life, and once you know those, it's much easier to create life balance in all of the other areas of life. Now, like I said, for me, I had no spiritual life whatsoever, so to speak. I was traveling all over the world in search of the best health information, and business and these types of things, and I had zero spiritual life. But then I began to cultivate this. I began to cultivate the spiritual side of my life, and it led to a much greater level of these three things that we are talking about. Now, one of the things we're going to be doing coming up on April 12th and 13th, we're going to be doing a special live seminar on cultivating the spiritual side of you, cultivating the spiritual part of your life. I wrote a book a few years ago called 7 Dates with Jesus, Crossing Over into Abundant Life. And it's all about my, path of growing spiritually and developing this process of getting connected with God, finding my purpose, growing and learning true principles and the way that God set the world up to really work. And so we're going to be going over in this special live seminar. We're going to be going over these three things. So if the spiritual part of you is something that you feel like is maybe maybe missing. You need to cultivate that, or you just don't have it in your life, or it's already there, but you want to enhance it. You want to make it even better. This seminar, 7 Days with Jesus, is going to help. You can see a special link down below. I'll put a link down in the description where you can get access and register for the seminar here coming up on April 12th and 13th of 2019.